Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahabashim Yashabashim Kakudash, and double honors to the great Muslim apostles, Thadi How Thadi Yashar for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazar that you also understand what I'm about to clarify in this video, man. I'm gonna name it Correction and Clarification, Greeks and Grecians of Israel, not heathen Greeks. Because I know that I stated something in this sit down, with the two brothers here, Ahab on the right and the brother Aria on the left as well here, so I'm gonna just play it and Yara Tazar through the spirit as well. Apostle Tar actually made a recent video based upon related to basically the Greeks and the Grecians, man. He made a statement in one of the videos, so I'm gonna play that too, and Yara Tazar bring out some precepts on that too. All right. Let's listen.
And they're out of the temple, man. Even around people, out of the temple, right? And they be getting into it more than even the heathens themselves. Yeah. Got something you want to say about that precept?
Yeah. I'll read it again. Let me just read it again just to get my mind in that train of thought. Proverbs 21:16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And the congregation of the dead, we can liken it onto the dry bones as mentioned within Ezekiel 37, which all these Israelites out here, which really they can be called heathens because they follow the customs of the heathens. Hence why, the confusion of, the Greeks in the past, them being confused for actual heathens, but they're actually Jakes who had customs of the heathens. When you get into...
Now, that's also true because, you had obviously Cornelius being the main example, because you ain't going to have a heathen flipping fasting for 4 days, to basically give reverence to Yahweh Bashim Yashar, to Yahweh. And ultimately, when Simon Peter came, he then introduced him to basically Yahweh Shai, man, in the latter verses of Acts chapter 10. So only really an Israelite would do that, man, in the spirit. So of course he goes down to being an Israelite, man, Cornelius. So that's there. That's when it refers to Greeks. Those are the when it says Greeks there in the New Testament, that's what's referring to people like Cornelius, man. So that's one thing.
The research of it, there's actually a difference between those of whom are actual Greeks and the ones who are only follow the customs of it. So it says, I think Apostle Goba actually went into it recently, where is the difference between Greeks and Grecians. Grecians being the ones of whom are following the customs, Israelites who were born into it, of course, but are not actual Grecians. I mean, not actual Greeks. And actual Greeks, they're really the Edomites, ultimately. Right. So when
that is true. That is true. Because, the actual Greeks, they're Edomites. But the confusion of faces part, I mean, not confusion of faces, but the part where people can get confused with is the fact that there are speckled bird Greeks. And the reason why I say speckled bird, I mean, people who look like Greeks, who look like Edomites by skin color, but actually go back to being an Israelite, man, by bloodline as well. So again, and you test the spirit, you test the fruits, man, whether it be Jake or not. Again, the sign of that was the fact that he did fasting and, abstained from certain wicked ways of the heathens, man. That's what Cornelius did. We're going to get a little bit of Acts chapter 10, and then you got the Grecians. We're just going to get like verse 1, maybe verse 2, of whom were actual Israelites. They look like the typical look of an Israelite, like a so-called Negro, so-called, Latino, Native American Indian, that type of look. They originally looked like an Israelite. I'm talking about the Grecians now. But the thing is, they took on the customs of the Greeks. The reason why they refer to as Grecians is because they then, when they went into, back to the land, the Jews had contention with them, man. So, of course, that's why they were referred to as Grecians. So you got Greeks, see them as speckled bird, and then you got Grecians, of whom are Israelites who were accepted by the Jews of the land, man, Israel. Which I can get into Acts chapter 6 slightly for that, but let me get clarification again. Let me see if there's anything else.
It says, shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Yeah, but that was really the key part, because I mentioned about actual Greeks and then Grecians, which, yes, is correct, but I wanted to do this video as a further clarification and get more accurate with Israelites, of whom are Greeks, are referred to as Greeks, and Israelites, of whom are referred to as Grecians. So again, simplistically, Grecians are the ones who look originally like an Israelite, but of course, they're woken to being an actual Israelite, man. So they had to forsake their ways as Greeks. But they were born in Greece as well. Hence that. Then you got actual Greeks, of whom are speckled bird, which means they're Israelites, but if you saw them by face value, you would think they're a heathen if you judge carnally. But if you judge spiritually, you realize these Greeks are actually Israelites as well, like Cornelius, major example. So let me get this one here.
Sometimes it
Apostle Paul, at this point, this was where he actually mentioned it. So let's get
Gentiles, even us whom he have called, not of the Jews only, but also, see, the Gentiles. Those are Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. Sometimes they're called heathens in the New Testament. Sometimes they're called Grecians. Grecians and Greeks are two different types of Israelite, two different classifications of Israelites.
That's the key part. Grecians and Greeks are two classifications of Israelites, but let's hear some more.
Greeks would be the ones like Cornelius, didn't know he was raised up as Israelite. He found out he was Israelite as he grew to a man. He was raised up as a heathen, another nation. You had the Grecians in Acts chapter 6, the widows who were neglected, dealing with the daily business, because the Jews that were born in the land kind of looked down at them because you guys wasn't born here. So you're really not real. Even though you're Israelites, you're really not Israelites. So even
because the Jews didn't see the Grecians as Israelites, since they were born into heathenistic customs, man.
in this gathering of the saints, there was, what's the word I'm looking for? Little hostility here and there.
Yeah, that's the point. So let me go back to hold on. I'm just gonna make this video short. Again, it's just a correction and clarification video. Get more accurate on the meaning of things. Let's get Acts chapter 10 first. Acts chapter 10. Just a few words. So this is Acts chapter 10 and 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. So he was a ruler in the Roman Italian band, which is that group of obviously soldiers. A devout man and one that feared the Most High. Heathens don't fear the Most High, man. With all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of the Most High coming in to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before the Most High. It says, Now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. So that's the point is, it says here he was a centurion of the Italian band, man. He was raised up really as a heathen, but he prayed to the Most High, man. The reason why you can liken him onto a heathen is because if you then scroll further, so even Peter had a dream on it, man. Based on had a vision based on Cornelius prior to Cornelius sending men for him. Because the heathens are regarded as unclean, but the Most High then said, don't call anything unclean, which is reference to the fact that heathens that may look like heathens, they're not always heathens. That's a twister for certain brothers. But anyway, certain newcomers, I'll say. I myself, I'm a newcomer too, man. Just 2020 entering into this truth, man. Knowing and still learning, man. But yeah, hold on. Let's see. Okay, that's too far. Let me get to where's the dream though. Jesus thought the vision. almost there. Oh yeah, hold on. Okay. Let's see. I think from verse 8, Acts 10 and 8. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. So Cornelius reporting the dream and, what to say to Simon Peter, man. And he said, and he became very hungry. Actually, no, I just skipped. So verse 9, Acts 10 and 9. And on the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. He became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven opened and certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth. It says, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice unto him, rise, Peter, kill and eat. And Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. And, this is a dark saying, man, because later on in the verses it explains it, that what the animals represents, they could be referred to as these different nations, man. Of all these different nations, it says, rise, Peter, kill and eat. Really the responsibility of a prophet is to actually teach, preach, spread the gospel, man, to Israelites specifically. But Peter said here in verse 14, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Which is basically, there ain't no point in teaching the heathens, but the thing is, what the dark saying here says, when it says in verse 15, and the voice spake unto him again the second time, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common, man. Which means someone who may look like a heathen, it may not actually be a heathen by heritage, man. They could actually be an Israelite, by bloodline. Now, hence why it says what the Most High hath cleansed. Despite them looking again, carnal judgment, looking like heathens, looking like unclean nations, they're actually Israelites, certain of them. That's when you test the spirits. So, whether to see if they're Israelite or not. All right, so let's see, because Peter actually realized this later on in Acts chapter 10. Just further edification from this video, just to add on to basically just to pull out Acts 10 for Cornelius, which Apostle Tahar mentioned, as I played in the beginning of the video, in his video, based upon the Gentiles. Now let's see, hold on. I think this is it, yeah. Acts chapter 10. Hold on. Let me actually read 30 again. Oh, I said again. Acts chapter 10, verse 30. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour. At the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, and thine arm. So he was fasting, man. You ain't going to get heathens flipping fasting for 4 days, especially for spiritual reasons, man. You ain't going to have heathens doing that. They're going to do it really for carnal reasons, if anything. But typically, heathens, they ain't in that fasting spirit, man, which humbles the soul. So yeah, let me move on. So verse 34, Acts 10 and 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that the Most High is no respecter of persons. Just because you look like Israelite don't mean that, okay, you're going to be exempt from judgment straight away. No. The rule is you have to work to earn what you need to earn. If you desire to be in the kingdom, you got to work to be there. If you desire to, to have a certain thing, you got to work for it. So yeah, it says, I perceive that the Most High has no respect of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness, again, when I said the beasts are also representative, creepy things, as it said in the vision that Simon Peter had, that's representative of the other heathen nations. But it says in every nation, beasts, creepy things, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. That's why it says, don't call anything unclean, man. As it said here in verse 15, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common, man. That's what it meant there. So then if you then go to verse 34, verse 35, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. So that's what that means. Those who fear him work with righteousness, such as Cornelius, he was obviously raised as a heathen and was perceived as one too. And we know that because of the dream Peter had as well. He actually feared Yahweh, man. Hence why he sent for Simon Peter, and he was fasting, remember. So the word which the Most High sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahweh HaMashiach, he is the Lord of all. It says, the word I say ye know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how the Most High anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for the Most High was with him. And we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, and whom they slew and hanged on a tree, man. Which of course, wood comes from trees, and that's what's used to create a cross. That's what that's referring to. So him the Most High raised on the third day. So right now, Peter's really preaching Yahushua onto Cornelius, man. So that was his response. And when he realized that, so that's what the Most High meant with that dream. That, okay, so he's got Israelites scattered amongst the nations, of whom may look like heathens, but are actual Israelites, man. Hence why I also refer to them as speckled bird. That should be Jeremiah 12 and 7, something like that. Jeremiah 12 and 7. Hold on. Oh yeah, Jeremiah 12 and 9 actually. So Jeremiah 12 and 9. Yeah, Jeremiah 12 and 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble the beasts of the field, come to devour. Yeah, man. It's a speckled bird because really, Israelites come in all different forms, man. All different forms. That's the thing. But all through the spirit, though, they're all Israelites. That's the unique point. And of course, the birds round about, you could liken it onto the other heathen nations, are actually against her, are actually against Israelites. So yeah, assemble the beasts of the field, come to devour, man. But the point is, mine heritage, Israel, is as a speckled bird. You're gonna have heathens who look like, you're gonna have Israelites who look like heathens, man. That's the point right there, to support that. Oh yeah, and I said I wanted to get Acts chapter 6, on the Grecians now. So that's a Greek right there, an Israelite of whom was a Greek, but he looked like a Greek, but in the spirit, by bloodline, he would have been an Israelite. And that's Cornelius. So that's that point done. Now let me get Acts chapter what's it again? Acts chapter 6. Just two, I think probably just the first one really. Acts chapter 6 and 1. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in daily ministration, in daily service. But then, this is what the apostles said unto the multitude of disciples. Then in verse 2, Acts 6 and 2, then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them, and said, it is not reason that we should leave the Most High, word of the Most High, and serve tables, man. You see? So, of course, in the ministry, women can be seen as distractions ultimately. Hence why, the focus is to serve Yahweh Shem Yahshua, not to always have women around, to serve tables or whatnot, man. So it would have been considered a distraction anyway. So it's basically cut out the fat, man. Cut out the unnecessary parts. That's essentially it. But yeah, the key part really isn't even that. I'm just explaining what that means. Which is just the 12 apostles saying, we got to focus on the work of Yahweh Shim Yashai, man. Just like the way Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Rahar, and Elder Apostle Ramla are always constantly preaching about focusing upon the ministry, man. They that have wives be as though they who have none. It's the same concept here, because they're widows were neglected in daily administration, which goes into service, man. Anyways, point is, I want to go into the root word for Grecians, so that we know what it's about. So Grecians, hold on. So Grecians, it says here, Hellenistes.
Strong's G 1675. Hellenistes. Hellenistes.
Hellenistes, which means a Hellenist. And what is a Hellenist? One who imitates the manner and customs or the worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue. So those Grecians, of whom were murmuring against the Hebrews are of course referring to Jacob as well, Israelites of whom were actually born in the land, of Israel, in Jerusalem. In Israel, let's just keep things simple. The Grecians were the ones who were born in Greek and obviously were awakened to the fact that they were Israelites, man. And then that's when they had to ditch the ways of the heathens, the Greek heathens. I mean, yeah. Because, remember, there's the Greeks of whom are Israelites who look like heathens. Then there's the actual Greeks who are heathens. Then you got Grecians who look like the authentic, typical Israelite, man. Who physically look like the authentic Israelite, of whom are awoken to the truth as well. So that's what a Hellenist is. One who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue. It says used in the NT, New Testaments, of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek, man. That's what a Hellenist is. And let's get, I just got something quickly prior to the video. It says, this is the AI overview. If you search on what is a Hellenistic Jew. A Hellenistic Jew was a Jewish person who spoke Greek and adopted some aspects of Greek culture and religion. So it's an Israelite person who spoke Greek and adopted some aspects of Greek culture and religion. It says the term Hellenistic can also refer to Judaism and Greek-speaking world and ancient Jewish. But the key part is a Jewish person who spoke, an Israelite person who spoke Greek and adopted some aspects of Greek culture. The same way it says it in the root word right here, man. Imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks and spoke the Greek tongue. And those are Israelites. So that's the difference there between heathen Greeks, the actual heathen Greeks who are definitely Edomites. Then you got Greeks of whom look like Edomites but are actually Israelites. Example, Cornelius in Acts 10. And then you got Grecians who look authentically, originally as Israelites, man. That typical look of an Israelite, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Indian look, and of whom are awake to the truth. And of course, when they went back to the land of Israel, they were referred to as Grecians, as it says here in Acts 6 verse 1. So yeah, man. Hence why they had opposition and contention with the actual Hebrews, man. The Jews of whom were born in Israel too. As it says here between Acts chapter 6, verse 1 to 2. So yeah, man. That's just the key part. So again, as I named the video, correction and clarification: Greeks and Grecians of Israel, not heathen Greeks. That's who we're preaching to, really. So that was just referred to really Apostle Tahar, through the Spirit. He made a video quite recently, anyways. That was 9th January. Today's the 11th. So I realized this, so I had to make a video on it. Let's see. Let's rewind that back and then get that clarification again. Now I'm gonna close out.
Like Cornelius, didn't know he was raised up as Israelite. He found out he was Israelite as he. Those are Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. Sometimes they're called heathens in the New Testament. Sometimes they're called Grecians. Grecians and Greeks are two different types of Israelite, two different classifications of Israelites. Greeks would be the ones like Cornelius, didn't know he was raised up as Israelite. He found out he was Israelite as he grew to a man. He was raised up as a heathen, another nation. You had the Grecians in Acts chapter 6, the widows who were neglected, dealing with the daily business, because the Jews that were born in the land kind of looked down at them because you guys wasn't born here. So you're really not real. Even though you're Israelites, you're really not Israelites. So even
It's the same way, as another minor example. If an Israelite was born in let's say UK, or Israelite was born in Japan or China or let's say Holland or something, and then they went back to the land of Israel, the actual land of Israel, where you got the ones who were born in Israel. The ones who were born in Israel could have a contention against those of whom were born in Holland, Japan, UK, America, man. Because they're not actually born in the land. Since for the one in the UK, they may be called, you could say British, man. The British Israelites. If you were to apply that same context to today's age, Holland, they may they may be referred to as Hollish Israelites, and the one in Japan, Japanese, whatever, man. But you should get my point, though. I'm just trying to apply it in the modern context. Israelites born elsewhere, imagine if they moved back into the original land where they were facing facing Israelites of whom were born in that land. That's where the argument then begins, man. The contention between those two, because it's like, oh, okay, but you weren't born in Israel, though. That's the thing. So you don't know the laws. So all of these arguments would have been happening back in that day, man. Between the Grecians and those of whom are regarded as born into the land of Israel, man. During that time. So yeah, anyways, that's just a simple point, man.
in this gathering of the saints, there was, what's the word I'm looking for? Little hostility here and there.
Yeah, as Apostle said, a little hostility between those two. So Yara Tazar, you got the point. I just wanted to make a correction video. A correction video based on the point that I made here. I'm the one in the middle, by the way. So, that's really it, man. That's really it. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna close it out. So yeah, Shalom, Kahala Imla, Yahabashim, Yashabashim, Kudash, and Yara Tazar, that you understood the correction and the clarification between, the heathenistic Greeks, the Israelite Greeks who look like heathens, and the Grecians who were just born in Greece, or one of their outer lands, or other cities that were owned by Greece, and moved back into the land of Israel, basically, especially by way of life, by rejecting that. So Yara Tazoi, that you on the difference between that, heathenistic Greeks, actual Edomites, and then you got Greeks of whom look like Edomites but are actually Israelites, and you got Grecians who look authentically like the original looking typical Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian, man. But yeah, Shalom, Yahaba Shim Yashar Brakatha.